Cold has a way of humbling technology. You can stack smart thermostats, triple-pane windows, and app-controlled heating systems. Yet, one winter blackout and suddenly the house goes silent and unforgiving. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't know. Homes built in the 1940s often stayed warmer, longer, with less fuel than many modern houses do today. And honestly, they did it with a heating trick so brutally efficient it still embarrasses modern systems. If this channel has ever given you value, tap subscribe like you're locking in a survival advantage, because what you're about to hear is old knowledge that still wins. What you're about to learn isn't nostalgia. It's physics, strategy, and survival intelligence forged during a time when fuel was rationed, winters were ruthless, and, well, failure just wasn't an option. During the 1940s, especially through wartime shortages, heating wasn't about comfort. It was about endurance. Coal, wood, and coke were precious. Electricity wasn't guaranteed. Central heating was rare. So, builders and homeowners leaned into a brutal reality and, well, turned it into an advantage. They focused on heat retention, not constant heat production. Instead of heating air and watching it leak out through walls and ceilings, they heated mass. Dense materials, brick, stone, concrete, thick plaster, and heavy cast iron. Once heated, these materials released warmth slowly, steadily, and relentlessly for hours or even days. That single idea is the heart of the trick modern homes abandoned. The most powerful heating systems of the 1940s weren't flashy. They were heavy. Masonry heaters, tiled stoves, and thick-walled fireplaces dominated older homes. These weren't designed to burn fuel all day. Instead, they were made to burn hot, fast, and clean, then store that heat deep inside their mass. A single intense burn could heat the structure itself. The walls became radiators. Floors stayed warm. The air stopped feeling sharp and dry. Once the fire went out, the house didn't cool down quickly. It coasted. Modern forced air systems do the opposite. They heat air fast and lose it just as fast. Turn the system off and the warmth disappears within minutes. That's not efficiency. That's dependency. Somewhere along the way, homes got lighter, thinner, and, well, faster to build. Drywall replaced plaster. Hollow walls took the place of solid masonry. Fireplaces became more decorative than functional. And heating? That became something we outsourced to machines instead of having it baked right into the structure. That shift honestly created homes that only feel warm when energy is constantly flowing. When the power drops or, say, fuel prices spike, comfort just collapses. Back in the 1940s, heating failure simply wasn't an option. So, systems were designed to keep working even when everything else stopped. One of the most underrated benefits of 1940s heating was stability. Those homes didn't swing wildly between hot and cold, They just maintained a steady baseline temperature, and honestly, that matters more than people realize. A stable indoor temperature reduces condensation, mold growth, and structural damage. It also reduces how much energy you need overall. The house itself becomes a battery, storing warmth and releasing it evenly. This is why, some older homes remain habitable for days during winter outages while modern homes become iceboxes overnight. Here's a fact that still surprises modern builders. A properly designed masonry heater can use up to 70% less fuel than a standard open fireplace while delivering more usable heat to the living space. That's not theory. That's measured performance. In wartime Europe and North America, families learned quickly that slow, stored heat beat constant burning. They burned less wood or coal, stayed warmer longer, and reduced smoke and soot buildup. This wasn't luxury. It was survival engineering. So, energy costs rise, power grids strain, and, weather just keeps getting more unpredictable. Yet, homes are still built as if energy will always be cheap and uninterrupted. The old 1940s heating trick, well, it reminds us of a different mindset, one that plans for failure, not just for convenience. One that assumes scarcity and, honestly, designs resilience right into the structure itself. You don't need to live in the past to learn from it. Modern materials, they can totally replicate the same principles. Thermal mass walls, concrete floors designed to absorb sunlight, high mass stoves paired with efficient burns. These ideas aren't outdated. They're timeless. A lot of modern survival talk, it really focuses on gear, generators, heaters, fuel stockpiles. All of that helps, sure, but it's reactive. The 1940s approach was proactive. It reduced the need for constant input in the first place. A house that holds heat doesn't panic when systems fail. It buys you time. Time to adapt. Time to respond. Time to survive. And that's the real lesson, isn't it? Back during the harsh winters of the 1940s, especially with rationing and all, homes built with thermal mass really did outperform those lighter constructions. They just needed fewer fires each day to stay warm. They stayed livable for a lot longer, even when fuel was hard to come by. And honestly, they helped reduce illness caused by cold indoor conditions. This wasn't just some happy accident. Folks learned this the hard way and refined it out of sheer necessity. The thing is, modern homes didn't really improve on this. Instead, they kind of moved away from it. So, this channel exists to surface knowledge that actually worked, back when failure meant real consequences. We're talking about the kind of knowledge that doesn't depend on apps, subscriptions, or always-on power. The kind that keeps you warm when, everything else falls apart. The 1940s heating trick isn't about going backward. It's about remembering what actually works. If this changed how you think about warmth, resilience, or preparedness, go ahead and hit subscribe and share this with someone who still thinks modern means better. History already ran the test and, it left us the answers.